Fans of The Dark Knight got some very interesting news, and that is that Scarlett Johansson, yes, the former Avenger, is jumping ship over to the DC Universe to star in The Batman Part 2. Of course, Matt Reeves is returning to direct it. Robert Pattinson will be reprising his role as Bruce Wayne. But who is Scarlett going to play? Well, I'm just here to speculate, but I have a few ideas. 'Cause I've been living life right like I could just die any minute. Going for a ride down the side. Hi everyone, my name is Jacob Berry. Welcome to the StudioJake vidcast where I talk about all things pop culture. Thank you for watching today. I'm very excited because Batman is one of my all-time favorite topics to talk about. And today it's particularly interesting because we have Scarlett Johansson, who of course played Black Widow in the Iron Man 2 film, in Captain America Winter Soldier, in the Avengers films, and of course in her own solo film, which should have come out in phase 1 of the MCU. Don't get me started on that. But now she has been cast in the Batman Part 2. And who is she playing? Matt Reeves is being very tight-lipped on the plot of this movie. There has been a lot of speculation about who will be the villain in it because he has said it'll be a villain who has not appeared in any sort of Batman theatrical releases, certainly no live-action one. Now, you might be wondering, why is Scarlett Johansson jumping ship from the Marvel Cinematic Universe over to the DC Universe, even if it is in the very isolated The Batman Crime Saga trilogy, as it is being called? This isn't that unusual. Vin Diesel, who voices Groot in the Guardians of the Galaxy films, he also played Bloodshot, which is based on a Valiant Comics superhero, or anti-hero, I guess. Bloodshot's really an anti-hero. And also Christian Bale, who previously played Batman in Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight trilogy, he also jumped ship over to Marvel to play Gore in Thor Love and Thunder. So this isn't weird, but it does raise a couple of questions. Who is Scarlett Johansson going to play? Is she going to be a villainess, a femme fatale, or an ally of the Batman? We really don't know. And I have a few possibilities and a few honorable mentions that I'm going to bring up at the end. But to begin with, let's start with the three villains that I think could be portrayed by her. So like I said, going with the idea that they are not using a villain from a previous film, I'm going to start with Nocturna. Now, Nocturna is a very interesting character. She was real big in the 80s. She's a vampire created by science, and she has yet to appear in any sort of Batman media except for Batman the Caped Crusader, which was a terrible adaptation of the character. Don't get me started on that as well. I wrote a review of Batman the Caped Crusader. You can find the link to my Substack and that review down below. Anyway, I digress on that. Nocturna is very interesting because, like I said, she is created by science, and I could see her being very seductive, sort of a more out there villain, because, obviously the Batman has faced Joker because Joker's in Arkham Asylum in the first film, and he just got through with dealing with the Riddler, so something more scientific I could see that working out in this film. Now, of course, you might be saying, but Jacob, they're kind of going for a more grounded villain. Okay, well then I would present to you Lady Vic. Now, Lady Vic did get her start in the Nightwing comics. She would frequently appear in Bloodhaven, but she did sort of transition over to Batman when Nightwing's original run sort of ended, and I could see her doing it. Now, she is a wealthy heiress, a socialite, and she sort of got just bored with her life, and she became a hit woman, a very powerful one with all the training she has done, and she can hold her own against Batman and Nightwing. So I could see her being sort of a more grounded villain. You could, change her costume. I don't want them to change their costumes. I actually hate it when movie companies do that, but I could see her as sort of this character being a good foil for the Dark Knight. Now, another villainess I could see sort of taking the spotlight, and by the way, I am not the first to postulate this theory. I have seen it on Instagram and on other YouTubers and Rumblers talk about this, maybe less Rumblers. But anyway, the Phantasm. Now, this character originated from Batman Mask of the Phantasm. Now, the Phantasm actually a combination of three different characters. The Reaper from Batman Earth 2, Azrael from, well, Batman sort of Azrael, and then the Reaper's daughter, who doesn't actually become the Reaper in the story, but they just sort of combined all those elements to create the Phantasm, and she has since appeared in other Batman media, including the comic books. And a very terrible run by Tom King used the character in the comics. But I could see this one working out, sort of a vengeance taking out, the other Batman villain mafia families. We already know that the Maroni family exists in the Batman universe thanks to the Penguin miniseries. So I could kind of see this one come together. Now, my super cute wife, she kind of looks at this more logically because she's more of a gamer than a comic book nerd. So she was going through this with me. I was pitching this idea to her and going over my notes with her. Now, she actually has two theories that I think are very interesting. She actually said that Scarlett Johansson could be Poison Ivy, or she could be Nora Freeze, the wife of Victor Freeze, of course, Mr. Freeze, the villain. And when I pointed out that Matt Reeves said, no, 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 these are going to be villains who have never appeared in any sort of Batman film franchise before, she said, does anyone really count Batman and Robin? That's a really good point, I have to admit. So that's certainly a possibility. I believe that is out there, but who knows? Like I said, I think that's a very good theory. Now, moving on to allies, I also have a couple of thoughts. Now, a lot of people have theorized that maybe the Mad Hatter is going to be the villain, and I would love to see a Batman film with the Mad Hatter. I think he's one of the most underused Batman villains. He's certainly one of the creepiest, and I could see Scarlett Johansson playing Alice. Think about this. Alice is a friend or girlfriend of Bruce Wayne's. A mysterious man called Jervis Tetch starts to become, obsessed with her. Crimes start happening, and people who don't normally commit the crimes, they are being accused of this. And Batman keeps finding these mysterious data cards next to him. Lo and behold, it's the Mad Hatter, and eventually he captures Alice, played by Scarlett Johansson. Now, of course, this is modern DC Comics, so the whole damsel in distress thing may cancel that theory out, but they might change the character a little bit. Now, another possibility that I've heard others talk about is Vicky Vale. She has not a villain, but she has appeared in Batman. She appeared in The Batman vs. Dracula, which is an animated show. And by the way, I meant the 1989 Batman film. She appeared there as the intrepid reporter of the Gotham Tribune or the Gotham Star or whatever the writer decided it was that day. But she is an intrepid reporter. She eventually starts dating Bruce Wayne. She can never quite put it together that Bruce Wayne is Batman. And in the comics, she was his longest girlfriend up until Catwoman sort of took the stage for that. And eventually she just broke up with Bruce Wayne because she kept thinking that he had something mysterious he was hiding. And I could see that working out. Now, they might reframe it, kind of combine her with Silver St. Cloud, because Silver St. Cloud broke up with Batman or Bruce Wayne because she found out he was the Dark Knight. Now they could do something similar with Vicky Vale. In the comics, she never discovered until some rewrites, but in the original post-crisis canon, she never figured out who Bruce Wayne was really, whether he was the Batman or not. And so she ends up just breaking it with Bruce Wayne because she feels that he's hiding things from her, and she just walks away. And I could see that happening, or her figuring out that he is, in fact, the Batman. Now, a couple of honorable mentions that I wanted to bring up, especially since Scarlett Johansson has played characters with accents, is I could also see her being Red Claw. That's another Batman the Animated Series original character. Batman fought her twice in Batman the Animated Series, and she had a couple of appearances in the comics based off the Batman the Animated Series. Not that many in the mainstream comics, but I could see that happening. I could see that working itself out. She could be Magpie, who was an assassin that involved Batman and Superman's first official team up in the comic books. They worked together to stop her. I could see a bunch of characters like that. She could be Lady Clay. Now, I don't know if that's true because for some reason, James Gunn is doing a Clayface miniseries. I think this is a terrible idea in the DC film franchise, the DC universe. Maybe Scarlett Johansson is going to play like the Lady Clay variation of that. I highly doubt that, but I'm just throwing that out there because I think it's an intriguing possibility. She could be the White Rabbit. another sort of Wonderland-esque Batman villain. I could see that happening, although they would probably change her costume because she just basically wears a swimsuit. But whoever it is, I think Scarlett Johansson is a very talented actress. I think she will do a good job no matter what. And let me know your theories. Who do you think Scarlett Johansson is going to be? It's certainly an excellent casting. It is weird to see a character jump ship. Like I said, it's not unusual, but it is a little weird. I would love to see who this character is going to be, and I hope Matt Reeves reveals it in the near future. Thank you so much for watching today. If you liked that video, be sure to give it a like, share it out to all your friends, leave me a comment, tell what you think, and subscribe. Don't forget to ring that little bell to get notifications when I post a new vidcast, and check out my community tab where I post links to my Substack. Speaking of which, if you do want to support me, the Substack is the best way to do that. You can subscribe at different tiers that unlock different perks. I really appreciate it. Thank you in advance. At that same website, there's a conveniently titled tab called Buy My Books. It's where you can find links to one or all four of my novels. I've got links all over the place, but they're all available on Amazon.com. I hope you check them out. Leave me a 5-star review. It really helps out small indie creators like myself. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time right here on Studio Jake.
'Cause I've been living life right like I